Welcome to the pre-taping of It Happened in Grand Prairie, as we bring you the history of our city of Grand Prairie, Texas, and some of the people that are very, very important to making history, and some that even continue to make history this very day. And that is the case today. And we're so pleased to bring you our history tape number 496. And we are excited today. We have a very special young lady from the Grand Prairie Independent School District. And she is really wonderful and is going to bring us the very first of our Hispanic Heritage Month tape, as we bring to the public always the last part of September and the first part of October every year. We've been doing this singly for several years. And we have a magnificent gathering of tapes of Hispanic history in Grand Prairie, Texas. We're excited today because Esmeralda Rodriguez is with us today. Esmeralda, how great that we captured you and have you on the set today.
Well, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
That's wonderful. First of all, let's get to know the real Esmeralda. Would you give us a little mini bio, name your parents, your mother's maiden name, and brothers and sisters, if you would like to do that at this time?
Sure.
Okay.
I was born and raised by Maria Cortez and Jose Cortez in San Benito, Texas.
All right.
And I have several siblings. I have my oldest brother, Jose Cortez, but he's deceased. And then I have Domingo Cortez, I have Valentin Cortez, Antonio Cortez, and Silvestre Cortez. And I also have a wonderful, loving sister, by the way, Rosie Mendez. And she works for Grand Prairie ISD also. She's our safe and drug-free coordinator for the school district.
And she is so vivacious and so exciting.
I agree. You can tell when she's in the room, very enthusiastic and vivacious. I love my sister. I enjoy working with her, and it's really great that we both ended up working for the same school district.
And as a young lady beginning in school, where did you begin your early school years?
I attended San Benito. I ended up graduating from San Benito High School in San Benito, Texas.
But let's go back to elementary.
Oh, I went to Sullivan Elementary School, Fred Booth Elementary School in San Benito
also.
And then Miller Jordan Junior High, and then of course San Benito High School. However, I also went to other schools throughout different states in Ohio and Michigan, because we were migrant workers, so we traveled quite a bit. And those schools, I don't remember exact names, but I went to different schools there too.
And you had a wonderful learning experience all over the United States.
Yes, I did. It was wonderful to travel with my family. A lot of hard work, but at least we were together as a family, so I enjoyed that very much.
Oh, that's wonderful. And when you were in elementary school, the elementary school that you hold the dearest in your mind of all of the elementary grades, and the teacher that was important to giving you a head up, give us that.
I would say Mrs. Gonzalez, 6th grade teacher at Fred Booth Elementary School. Back then, or at least in San Benito, 6th grade, they went to elementary. And she was awesome. She encouraged me, she nurtured me, and I told you that I was a migrant worker, so she was very good and supportive and did extra tutoring on her own. So I have a wonderful memory of her, of how a teacher and her ability to be caring with me and really being there as a support was really amazing and really an exciting thing to look back and reflect. And my hope is, and challenges to teachers throughout, is for them to try to be that way with as many of the students that they have contact with, because you impact them every day, whether you realize it or not.
And you're doing that in your payback right now, aren't you?
That is correct. That's my hope.
Yes. All right. And then to middle school. Did you go to a middle school or on to a high school?
I went to middle school and intermediate, Miller Jordan Junior High, and then I went to the high school.
Your middle school. Anyone that was real forceful in seeing that you took the next step and kept on the track to go to high school?
Not as much. I would say high school was where I had another teacher that was very
Let's
impactful.
go for the high school experience.
That would be Mr. Lara. He was a retired fire department chief, and he ended up coming back and going into the school and being a teacher. He taught pre-law enforcement class, and he was so great because he would take us traveling to do competitions on pre-law enforcement. And I think that was the start of my being an advocate, because he taught us how to speak in public with other people and advocate for issues in the community. So I really, really am thankful to him, because he really encouraged me to go to college in addition to my parents and my family.
Now, in San Benito, in high school, your last year, your senior year,
Right.
what was your favorite subject and your favorite activity of all?
I think one of my favorite activities was Pan American Student Forum. I had a great teacher there, and Miss Seguin, and she would take us to San Antonio traveling, and we would do dance, and it really made me appreciate my culture and my heritage. So I really enjoyed that class a lot.
That was wonderful. Then, after high school, what happened to Esmeralda?
Well, let me tell you, I went to college. I knew since I was little, my parents really emphasized higher education.
Yes.
And I had an incentive for higher education, was I did not want to work in the fields all my life. So I went to college at Texas Southmost College in Brownsville, Texas.
Brownsville?
Yes.
Okay.
And
are you older than Rosie?
no, but I'm sure she will be thankful to hear that you asked that question. I am actually the younger one, but she...
You're the baby.
Yes, I am. I am
She
the
set
baby.
the stage for you.
Yes, she did. She was my mentor. Yes.
Yes, she really was. Okay. Now, in Brownsville, going to college during those days, what was the excitement of getting into a college knowing that you had to make it on your own? There was no one keeping track of you except Esmeralda.
Well, the incentive was I knew that I wanted to go to college. I had seen Rosie go to college, work full-time, and go to college full-time, so I knew it could be done.
Were you going to prepare to follow in her footsteps?
Yes, and I liked what she did. She went into social work, and I liked what she did. She became a director at a clinic there, and I saw the things that she was doing. She was a shaker and a mover, and I knew that I wanted to be doing some of the things and following her footsteps. So from then I went to Pan American University for my bachelor's in social work degree.
All right. And you, when you went into the college, you knew exactly what your goal was, that you wanted to be in social work.
Well, I knew let me clarify, I started wanting to be a nurse.
Okay.
And in my junior year, I was in a program called SER, and I did a placement at a nursing home, and it was a great experience. However, I realized that it was a very difficult job, and really my hats off to nurses and doctors, because that's a difficult field. But I knew I wanted to be in a caring field, and I saw what Rosie did, so I leaned from the nursing to social work. And ended up focusing on social work.
On social work.
Yes.
And that inevitably brought you into the educational field via what route?
Well, what happened was I moved up here to the Dallas area with my husband, Israel Rodriguez, and I ended up going to UTA at Arlington for my master's degree in social work. And what ended up happening, I was working for mental health, mental retardation in Fort Worth.
Okay.
And I heard about the position open in the school district for a homeless coordinator. So I went ahead and applied in 1994, and that's how I ended up being in a school setting.
And now, a homeless coordinator for the Grand Prairie ISD, what was Rosie doing at this time?
Rosie was working in a different place. She was still not with Grand Prairie ISD. She came after.
You brought her to the Grand Prairie
Yes,
ISD?
I did. Yes, we knew there was a position, and I said, oh, she would be awesome. So I asked her to apply, because I knew she had a lot of expertise and a lot of experience with drugs and alcohol and working with different agencies and communities. So she had a lot of skills to offer to our Grand Prairie ISD.
What did you think about leaving the Fort Worth area and coming to Grand Prairie and changing altogether from the health field into working with boys and girls in the Grand Prairie ISD? What was that like?
Well, it wasn't a real big change, because I was working at MHMR, the Suicide and Crisis Unit, doing a lot of assessments and crisis intervention, and I ended up doing a lot of that in the school setting as a social worker and as a homeless coordinator also.
When you began the program, were you the first to come into the system with the homeless coordination program?
That is correct. And now
you had to lay it all out and start the basic trend.
That is correct. Well, we had a plan, and we had a lot of support from Mr. Rudy Lopez and Marty Brownlee, that they wrote the grant, and the school district was very supportive and being proactive to dealing with the situation of families in homeless situations. And now we also have an awesome coordinator, Ms. Christine Gonzalez. Let me tell you, she's an angel, works very hard with our families that are in homeless situations.
You began the program for the homeless in what year?
1994.
1994 was your first time on board. And when
correct.
you assessed the homeless situation in Grand Prairie, Texas, what did you find in that 1994?
Well, we found that it was growing. There was probably between 500 to 600 identified at that time. However, the numbers have pretty much tripled since back then, either because the demographics are increasing and also because of the economy. I believe this last year we had over 1,500 identified as homeless, but I'm sure Ms. Gonzalez can give you a better estimate than I could, since she's doing that day to day, every day.
The last estimate that she technically gave me was 3,000, a possibility of 3,000, depending on the different categories of homeless classifications.
That is correct.
Oh, wow. And after you stayed for a while with the homeless coordinator, how long?
I stayed there for about 4 years, almost 5 years, and then I ended
And it grew to what?
It grew to over almost 1,000. I mean, that were actually identified. And we knew that there were more out there, that we needed to do increased efforts to identify the children and youth in Grand Prairie.
Some are unidentifiable by virtue of their personal choice?
That may be the case, or it's because of the mobility. The high mobility rate is sometimes, by the time we try to identify them, they may have already moved. Right, that happens a lot.
Yes.
Right.
And after homeless, what happened?
I was hired as a Bonham School social worker, and I was there up until this past year, when I was given the opportunity to be the Title I parent facilitator for the school district.
Now at Bonham, that's an elementary school.
That is correct.
And our magic director of this program, Louis Tovar, has a beautiful wife that works at Bonham. Did you know Louis Tovar's wife?
Yes, I did,
Miss
Mrs.
Lisa.
Tovar. Yes, Miss Lisa Tovar. I thoroughly enjoyed, and I think that's, I really enjoyed working at Bonham and with all the staff there. And that was a difficult decision to move on to be the parent facilitator. However, I knew that I would bring my expertise and the asset of being bilingual to the Parent Involvement Center.
How different was it, being the homeless coordinator, to moving to Bonham with this new title and this new situation that you had there? Was there much difference in your job?
There wasn't much difference in my job, because there was a lot of children in homeless situations at Bonham. And also, I think the main difference, if I could focus, would be that I was only at one campus, which was Bonham, that is high needs there for different circumstances, rather than traveling to different campuses like I was as a homeless coordinator.
As the homeless coordinator.
That is correct.
When you had to travel to the different campuses, that made it very difficult scheduling, didn't it?
Well, yes, and the thing was that sometimes emergencies came up or crises came up, and it's difficult to just be at one campus knowing sometimes you were going to get called to from another campus. So, but that's something you learn to prioritize, and the counselors and the administrators work with you to figure out, you know, if this is really a crisis where the homeless coordinator needs to be called, or is this something that we can take care of as a campus.
I'd like to know how many hands-on situations you took care of away from the school, but with the parents that you were working with in your situation at Bonham?
Many. There at Bonham, I know that I would have parent conferences throughout the day.
Yes.
Yeah, or counseling with the children. So it was busy. It was very busy. I would average, we want an average at least 25 to 35 contacts a day.
Per day?
Per day.
All right, did you do any out of the campus in the evening situations with families?
Sometimes we did, but you know, you had to try to take care of yourself. That's very important as a teacher or any staff person, to take care of yourself and spend your family commitments and take care of those also. But you know, sometimes we had PTA meetings or we had parent workshops and so forth, and that's something I'm really excited for this year, that I know I'll be doing that. And I'm very lucky that my family's very supportive and my husband's very supportive, and I have two teenager children children, Jose and Marissa, and I know they're very supportive because they know that I enjoy my career and that I enjoy working with the families here in Grand Prairie.
Before we get a little bit deeper into your new title, now that you're at Travis and have a new campus,
Right.
Let's break the scene and let's go back to see where in the world did we find Israel?
I found Israel in San Benito, Texas.
You did?
He found me, yes. Yes, he was a friend of my brother's, one of my brothers.
How were you introduced?
Well, he was a friend of my brother's,
Okay.
so I knew of him. And
Yes.
we ended up starting to date back in 1982, and we got married in 1985.
And
we've been married 18 years now.
And from that came, tell us the two boys once more.
Well, one boy, Jose Rodriguez, and
All
then
right.
my
Where is
daughter.
he?
He's at South Grand Prairie High School, sophomore, and then I have a daughter.
All right.
Marissa Rodriguez, and she's a 9th grader at SGP 9th Grade Center.
Okay. That is wonderful, and you're making more years out of both of them.
That is right.
That is right. Well, tell me about how you encourage them when they know what you do for a living,
Right.
and how hard it is for you to mesh all of these things. What kind of relationship do you have with your son and daughter that are one in South and one in the 9th grade at South?
Well, I got to say that we keep pretty busy. My son's in Boy Scouts and Taekwondo, so my husband and I kind of take turns, flip-flop, who's going to take him one day or I'll take him the following week. My daughter, same thing, very involved, well, both of them very involved at our church, St. Michael's, the Archangel Catholic Church, so we have a youth group there and we're involved in that too. And it's busy. However, it's very important as a parent to make time for your children. They grow up so fast, Miss Jackson.
Yes.
You know, I know you have your grandchildren and you enjoy them, but, you know, our children grow up so fast, and right now is the time to give them supervision, give them attention, and I thought, you know, when my kids would be older, oh, I don't have to pay or give them so much attention, but what I have found, I was so mistaken. They need more attention and they need more supervision.
Yes, they do.
Yes, and it's important to spend time with them.
Do you go to their PTA meetings?
Yes, I am.
Oh, my.
Yes, oh yes, girl. Yes, I've always been every year on the PTA board in one form or fashion. You know, even maybe not the PTA president because of my other commitments, but I always try to be a member or a committee member in some form or fashion. Very important to be involved.
Do either one of your children have their sights set on where they're going to college or what they're going to be when they
Well, I think they have an idea, but I think they change. We just encourage them to be whatever they want to be. I know that it's very important to just encourage. We have the Texas Tomorrow Fund, and really they know, we've talked about it. We would like for you to go to college. Which one you go to or which university, we will support you. We will be there for you. And I think my son's leaning towards engineering, but I don't know. Sometimes he wants to be a psychologist or psychiatrist. Who knows? I just hope for him and my daughter both that they be the best, most productive person that they can be, and also remember to give back to the community. That's something that I was instilled with by my parents, and we try to encourage that for them too.
That is really great. Now, we've talked about everything around except your brand new assignment.
Right.
And we were so excited when we heard that you have this majestic new title and you've moved from your favorite place of Bonham to Travis.
Correct.
That's on the other side of the railroad track.
Yes.
That's down in the Fairview community.
That is correct.
And tell me about that transition. When you heard that position was opening, was it a hard decision to make to leave Bonham and apply for this new position?
It was. I would be lying if I said it wasn't. It really was a tough decision because I'd been at Bonham almost, with being a homeless coordinator and the school social worker, almost 10 years there on that site.
You had it cut and dried, didn't you?
That is correct. And, it's familiar territory, and the staff, they're such a joy to work with. However, I was ready for the challenge, and I've always talking about parental involvement. I always strive and challenge myself to be the best person I can be when I interact with parents, and to really encourage them to make them feel welcome at any campus that I've been in. And I figured, okay, this is a good time to transition. And since the opportunity was there and the support was there for me to be in that position, I figured I'd go ahead and apply and try to see what this new challenge brought to me.
And setting that up, you began when?
I just started this school year.
This school year.
And I'm very excited. We have a lot of good things happening on the horizon. You know, we do a district community conference that's coming up March, and I can tell you that we have it coming up March 27, 2004, Saturday. And we have a lot of things planned for that conference. We have a lot of parent workshops focusing on how to help your child if they have ADD, ADHD, if there's...
Now we're going to back up.
Okay.
We want you to look at your list.
Okay.
And I don't want you to give us acronyms because that
Okay.
HD,
Okay.
HDA,
No problem.
everyone in our viewing audience
Right.
would like to know exactly what that means. So,
All right. That is fine.
All right.
ADD, attention deficit
Attention
disorder,
deficit.
or ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And, you know, and sometimes it's
hard to tell the difference.
Right, right. And sometimes there's a lot of circumstances that are happening to our kids or that they're dealing with in their families or communities, and sometimes they may demonstrate those behaviors or characteristics of children that have either of those diagnosis. However, sometimes it's circumstances that may be going on at home also, or in the community that we need to take a look at as a community also.
Some of the things.
Well, some of the things, we have a calendar parent workshops here on August 21st. We had the first one, how to help your child succeed in school, homework tips. And we have in September, Thursday, the 18th, from 9 to 11, how to develop teamwork. And that has to do with helping parents and encouraging them how to volunteer in the school and how important that is to be a partner with your campus.
They can be a player.
Yes. And October the 16th, we have how to have a successful parent-teacher conference, and that's important. At one point or another, we have to conference with the teachers, preferably to do it when there's something positive going on with your child rather when they're getting into misbehaviors.
Good. Next.
The next one is October the 16th, and that's the how to have a successful parent-teacher conference. And then November 20th, grief, living with loss.
Yes.
And that covers so many different issues, but that's very important, especially during the holidays. We have December the 18th, stress management. All of us that have
Stressed at Christmas.
Right, balance everything. In January the 15th, we have discipline, raising responsible children and youth. That's very important nowadays. We all want our children to be the best that they can be. February the 26th, we have gang prevention, getting involved and staying involved. And then March the 18th, warning signs of drugs, what to do if you think your child is using drugs. That's very important. That's something a lot of children are getting into right now. April 22nd, we have keeping the peace at home, how to deal with violence or sibling rivalry also. May the 20th, summer fun activities. It's very important for us as we start getting ready to end the school year to let our parents know information about what activities are going to be offered by the City of Grand Prairie, the public library, anything that's going to be available, and some tips on how to keep reinforcing reading tips at home with your children.
Oh, that's excellent. Okay. What a wonderful program you've planned for all year long. See, you're making history week by week, aren't you?
Oh, I sure hope so. Now, a lot of this information we have gotten from families that have requested these topics, yes, and the counselors also. So I'm really excited about being able to provide this to our families here in Grand Prairie.
And to set the stage for this, tell us about your new office at Travis.
Well, it's at the Parent Involvement Center. We call it the PIC. It's over at 525 Northeast 15th Street.
Is there a magic phone number?
Yes.
That they can get in touch with you?
Oh, yes. 972-343-6114.
Okay. And do you have a staff that helps you answer the phone and do some of these things? Please, Ms. Esmeralda.
Well, there is Secretary or Clerk Sylvia Estrada at 972-343-6112, and she's located at the Pupil Support Services there at Travis Elementary.
Okay. And your day starts out like the week starts today on Tuesday. Give us some of the things that you may do this week, this very week.
Well, as you know, today we were doing the TV show today, and also we had a meeting with a principal. Sometimes I have telephone conferences or office conferences with principals, especially all the Title I principals. That's one of my main responsibilities, is to encourage partnerships between the administrators, the campuses, and the parents of our school children in Grand Prairie.
How many principals do you work actively with in your program?
Right now our focus is the Title I elementary campuses, which are 15 and 1 middle school.
15 and 1, okay.
So 16 total.
Okay, and those principals, you have meetings with them individually or as a group?
Right, well, both. It can be both, either individually or as a group. I know we've been doing a lot of surveys to try to get an idea where their campuses are at with parental involvement or parent education programs, to try to see if there's any gaps or what can we identify to make it more successful and more welcoming for our parents to come into the campuses.
Do you encourage the parents in English as a second language and vice versa?
Sure. As a matter of fact, we provide a class called Inglés sin Barreras currently. We ended up having to provide 2 sessions, one from 8:30 to 10 and the other one from 10 to 11:30 every Wednesday and Friday through November.
And that's in the mornings?
And that's in the morning there at the Parent Involvement Center.
Yes, and do they register for this or do they pay anything for
No,
it?
it is free and they can just call me or they can come by. As a matter of fact, we already have at least 50 parents that are participating right now.
How wonderful.
Yes.
And who instructs this class?
I do. I facilitate it. It's a video-based curriculum and the parents requested it and we went ahead and started it and we have had very good turnout.
And it's already up to 50 and,
Yes.
and school's been going, what, 2 weeks?
That is correct.
That is wonderful.
That is correct.
I'd like for you in about 2 minutes that we have left to look out into your camera to Richard and invite all of the parents in Grand Prairie that think they might be interested in your session to come and contact you. Please give it in English and in Spanish.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Esmeralda Rodriguez and I would like to take this moment to invite you to come and take advantage of our free parent workshops that we'll be having from 9 to 11 every 3rd Thursday of the month. We'd love to have you come to the Parent Involvement Center and take advantage of this service. Yo soy la señora Esmeralda Rodríguez. Buenas tardes. Quiero darles la bienvenida y invitarlos a que participen en nuestros talleres mensuales el tercer jueves del mes en el centro de Travis Elementary. Me pueden llamar a 972-343-6114. You're welcome to call me at 972-343-6114. Thank you. Gracias.
And all of that sounds so exciting. And don't you know that you're a real wonderful aid to all of the parents that have felt this need for so long and now it's coming into a reality. Is this through a grant also?
Well, this is through the Title I.
Title I.
And we're so happy and I'm so pleased that our superintendent and our school district has been so proactive in addressing the issues of our parents and especially also in addition our Hispanic parents, especially since the population has been growing so much. So I'm really excited about this opportunity and I hope that I'm up for the challenge, which I know I am. Yes, I am very excited for you giving me this opportunity to disseminate the information to the parents.
And I know that Dr. Barbosa and all of our administrators at the Grand Prairie ISD are very, very thrilled that they have such a capable young lady that really has at heart her job, and especially a brand new one that you don't have everything laid out as you did in that 10-year experience when you were with the homeless and the social working situation. And we appreciate you so much. We also thank Rosie. We also thank Christina.
That is correct.
Because Christina is very important to many of the programs that go on, and we want to thank you for caring about Grand Prairie and caring about Grand Prairie boys and girls, especially in the Grand Prairie ISD. And when we see any of the boys and girls floating around that should be in school, we have a new little directive that says, please call this number. And many of us are practicing trying to evaluate that, whether or not it's best, and it must be. And we've got to wrap up. Thank you so much, Esmeralda.
I appreciate the time.
And this is Ruthie Jackson reminding you that history is as we live and do and document.
That's right. Thank you.